Michael. It's a pleasure to be here. Very excited to share my journey in working with Chinese students and what we are doing at my current school and why I feel this is very important for international understanding and for making sure our students have a superb experience in the States. My first experience with working directly with Chinese international students was at a boarding school in Claremont. And in 2008, when we started to see the first group of students joining us, I had the complete honor of working with some extraordinary students in my English class teaching literature. And I learned that I was teaching a boy whose parents were the owners of Nine Dragon Paper Company, which is a huge international recycling conglomerate, and one of the most humble, amazing young men I've ever taught. I learned from my students that they didn't really know much about Tiananmen Square. And so the learning that was shared between my American students and our Chinese students was really extraordinary. I became very interested in Chinese culture and ended up co-running 4 or 5 trips to China with this particular school, taking students from Tibet to Hong Kong to the Yangtze River and beyond. And so I never would have expected that in 2014, I would be living in China, helping open a brand new school. So that's my beginning. Oops. So a little bit about my current school. I am at Flintridge Sacred Heart Academy in Southern California. We are the first exit beyond Pasadena, and we overlook the beautiful entire valley, the Rose Bowl, and NASA's JPL is at our foot, literally. We are a Catholic Dominican independent college preparatory day and boarding school. Our mission, you can see, is to educate young women for a life of faith, integrity, and truth. We were founded in 1931 by the Dominican sisters, and they purchased a hotel that was built on the top of this beautiful hill. Due to the Depression, the hotel was unable to stay open. So the sisters bought this property literally for a song. And now I'm sure it's worth much more than what they originally paid for. We do have 378 boarding and day girls of all faiths. And due to the pandemic, we have 40 boarding students, 31 of whom come from China, and then a handful from other countries. We should be at capacity at 72, but as I mentioned, and as we are all quite aware, the pandemic has put a hit on our admission. By the way, we are not open. We closed in March, and we will not be reopening to students until April, but the residential program will not open until August. We have 4 Chinese girls currently in the dorm who identify as Christian. And last year, we had 1 Chinese student adopt Catholicism at the end of her senior year. But in general, our students don't convert. Our campus minister, one of our student campus ministers last year was an international student from China. As I mentioned, we started as a hotel, and now this is our girls' home, and they live right here in this beautiful building with our Dominican sisters. So in talking to our Chinese parents and our admission office, they reflect that they choose us for our academic program, our very close community, our extraordinary junior and senior research program, and the fact that we're an all-girls school. They like that safety and they like the ability for girls to become empowered. In surveying our parents about the residential program, again, they comment on the close-knit, diverse community, very small size, our very safe environment, trained residential life staff, and of course, our unique location in the LA Basin for fun and excursions. And then in talking to parents, as most recently in March at an evening parent Zoom to China, we were sharing our brand new residential life curriculum that focuses on life skills, social emotional learning, and attention to character development. And then we, of course, have included Chinese traditional values in our character bucket, and that was received very well. And as they said, who will teach my daughters these skills when we are in China and we might not see them from August to June? So we're very happy to be able to provide this education for the girls. And traditional Chinese values blends in seamlessly with our character program. And this year, to be very inclusive, our school's undergoing a full DEI audit. We're going to make sure that in the halls, in addition to our women empowerment and save the environment posters, we're going to post Chinese traditional cultural value posters in both Mandarin characters and in English so that they feel at home. So as referenced, our parents are not particularly seeking a Catholic education, but they value our focus, as I mentioned, on faith, integrity, truth, and character. And so you can see here our Dominican pillars: prayer, study, community, and service. And our Chinese girls are stars in, of course, academics, in being part of a vibrant community, and in their service work. Prayer, we ask the girls to be respectful, to join in and share what beliefs and passions that they bring to our school and our community. And we have never had a girl say, I don't want to do this, I'm not comfortable. And so I think our approach has been very successful in helping them feel included and comfortable. When we talk about our portrait of a graduate, we do say she is a woman of faith, but I highlighted what the girls from China appreciate, that we are teaching a respect and love for others by acting with care, concern, compassion, acting justly, loving tenderly, and making moral choices and issues based on a well-formed conscience. So that is sort of the backbone expectation for our girls and something that they talk about when they graduate. So in my role today, I'm, again, not talking about campus ministry per se, but I'm talking about the pastoral approach that we use to make sure that these girls coming from China alone for a year do feel welcomed. So we have a variety of approaches. Of course, we have the Dominican Service Program, a 4-year scope and sequence of religion courses, class retreats, masses, holy days, the typical Catholic school programming. And then our residential life program, residential life wellness, inclusion, and belonging curriculum. And I have taken this year to completely revamp the curriculum, the residential life curriculum, because A, we have the time, which has been a gift in a way. And secondly, in researching and polling our families, what do you need? And the staff inclusion, these are the things that came out as most important in moving forward. Other ways that we support our girls: academic and advising support. And this year it has been a wonderful benefit that our advisors and our classroom teachers are now Zooming with these girls in China, because when we are on campus, we don't see academic and advisors in the halls ever. And so this has been a real godsend to be able to communicate with parents and students in a much easier fashion. The focus of the junior and senior research program is social justice. So the girls are tying in research with a very, very deeply meaningful to them, some sort of social justice program. Of course, we have Veritas Week. We celebrate Dominican Heritage Week. And every year before the freshmen arrive on campus, all the new girls, we have an all-school shared experience, and we have a group read Father Greg Boyle's book, Tattoos on the Heart. And he is the face of Homeboy Industries in LA, which seeks to help reintegrate felons and other folks who've been in prison into mainstream society. And again, we're using this book to talk about the themes of kinship, kindness, love, and justice, which is equally accessible to all cultures. I won't get into this too terribly much, but we have the standard 4-year religious studies program. The teachers try to make connections to Chinese culture and history. I think we can do a better job with more understanding of what that looks like. And again, our hope is that the girls will recognize and celebrate and understand the interdependence and interaction of a wide variety of religious traditions. We have the retreat program, as most schools do. 9th grade, we're talking about self-love, and we're trying to have the girls gain confidence in talking about themselves in a large group. The 9th grade retreat is focused on loving oneself, self-identity, growth, etc. Sophomores engage in retreat based on the 4 loves: friend love, family love, relationship love, and God's love. Juniors go across the Pacific Ocean to an island, to Catalina Island, and they have part of the retreat based on environmental sustainability and team building. And then they're focusing on their life journey. And of course, all seniors are engaged in Kairos. Our service program is a way to bridge the day boarding domestic international family. And we have two types of requirements. We ask the girls to complete Sienna hours and Veritas hours. And 5 hours are the Sienna hours. This is indirect service. And this year we have done a lot of service, primarily indirect service. And we've done a lot of collection for communities such as Salvation Army, food pantries, et cetera. And then the Veritas hours is a very intentional, hands-on, one-on-one experience, which we've had to put on hold a little bit this year. The service, again, supports our mission in shaping young women of faith, integrity, and truth. Our parents and our alumni are all part of our service program. And what I am very excited about is that the Chinese girls this year have partnered with Educating Girls of Rural China. This is an organization based in Canada, but is in the rural village of Gansu province. And our girls have worked tirelessly this year in China, from China, to raise funds to lift girls out of poverty in these rural villages and to enable them to go to high school in such a way that they would not ordinarily be able to do because they simply cannot afford it. And so I'm pleased that we have this wonderful service project and connection with EGRC. So let me move to the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to share with you. And that is our residential program. As an educational consultant, I have been talking to lots and lots of schools this year. And I've been a bit surprised. Now, these are not Catholic schools, but I've been a bit surprised by the lack of intentional curriculum and programming in many schools, to be quite honest with you. And so I feel as though we're hopefully doing a better job at that at Flintridge Sacred Heart. So we are small, we are diverse, and it's an intimate program. And we truly work tirelessly as a staff to make sure every girl feels known. We cultivate deep relationships, and the girls cultivate lifelong friendships with their peers and with the staff. My staff is a grand sum total of 7 women. One dorm parent has been in the program for 20 years, and everyone else has been in the program. This is my 2nd year, ranging from 2 years to 7 years. Our focus is belonging, community, opportunities, and inclusion. Our new curriculum focuses on character, social emotional learning, and life skills development that they need to learn now for tomorrow when they go off to the real world and to university. And we started with a social emotional learning curriculum, but then it exploded into life skills, outdoor skills. We're going to take these girls camping and hiking and teach them survival skills, mindfulness, wellness, and of course, leadership development and character. We work really hard to develop a true home away from home, from food to celebrations to music to going to stores that have the types of foods they would like to buy. We have trained our residential staff on cultural competencies, and I will talk about that a little bit later. And I am very experienced in Chinese culture, and so I have worked really hard to bring my staff up to speed on cultural mores and do's and don'ts. This year, we'll be launching our Restorative Justice principles and circles. And again, the purpose is to be respectful, inclusive, and develop a community that's focused on belonging. And then, of course, I talked about our weekend program, and then our monthly lessons that focus on belonging and faith, integrity, and truth. So our overriding framework follows the CASL social emotional learning competencies. And before we start with ministering to our students, again, I've said this many times, you can hear it, cultivating that sense of belonging must come first. They must feel comfortable in their new home. Otherwise, it's difficult for them to be comfortable in a religion class or perhaps in a sport they've never played. The CASL framework includes the 5 bolded points here: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision-making. And this is the challenge to my staff and hopefully to our entire faculty. And we are moving towards this, as I mentioned, because we are doing a full DEI audit this year. We want to make sure that the adults are engaging in practices that affirm diverse social and cultural identities, also help cultivate that sense of belonging and community in class, on the playing field, in advisory structures for physical and emotional safety, culturally responsive instruction. And so we just started this Wednesday with a full curricular day where we're looking at our curriculum very closely. Professional development, creating space for student voice, anti-racism conversations, and tiered supports to meet the needs of all students. So as I mentioned, these are the various areas that we focus on. Our life skills bucket has 77 skills, and we will develop all of these, we will deliver all of these programs through our evening hall meetings once a week and on the weekends, because most of our girls tend to stay on campus. And here is just an initial Google Jamboard of the some of the 77 skills. And I'd like to bring to your attention one of our staff thought it's important to learn for the girls to learn how to change a diaper. We also offer, through our residential program, monthly prayer services. And this focuses on a topic relating to faith, integrity, and truth in a more relaxed setting. And again, we just ask the girls to be open-minded. And these are some of the topics we look at. We do a prayer service once a month. Who am I? What is faith? Self-love, Bible stories, lessons from leaders in the Bible, and what do I believe in? And then I'm excited that we have wonderful participation by our campus minister, our religion teachers, and other staff sharing in our prayer services. I mentioned the restorative justice principles and inclusion. And again, our Chinese girls expect to be treated fairly with a deep sense of justice and respect if they make a mistake. And so we are incorporating restorative principles, not only in our response to disciplinary infractions, but also using that listening circle. And we're following the Council for Spiritual and Ethical Education. We've all been trained in using the restorative circles. Okay, so to end my program, I want to talk about the recommendations that we see for supporting Chinese students in our school, and again, through the Ministry of Pastoral Care. So pre-arrival learning and modules, and I have contracted with a third-party company that is developing a series of videos and PowerPoints. It's an app that the girls can hold on their phone that will teach them every aspect of our school before they arrive, because we all know students don't read emails, or the emails get lost and nobody reads the handbook. So it's an app, it's gamification, and they earn points, and they have to complete all of these modules before they arrive. But what's new for this year, based on student request, we're going to include a module on what is a Dominican Catholic school look like? What are you going to see? What is a mass? They don't even have the vocabulary in many cases to understand what's happening. So they will get this before they even arrive. One of our religion teachers recommends using children's Bibles for language accessibility, because some of our students are ELA status. We're going to shift the Year 9 religion course to a world religion course so that the girls have a strong overview of all religions and all faiths to have a better and a broader perspective. The religion teacher in grade 9 is going to take the students in our local Chinese community to Mass that's in Mandarin, so the girls can hear it in Chinese and have a better understanding what is happening when they're in our gym, having a Mass in English. So we think that's really important to do that early on in the year. And I mentioned professional development, cultural competencies, very important to understand Chinese culture and beliefs, and third culture kids. And I am a big fan of Tanya Crossman, who is an expert on third culture kids. And we book her every spring for a professional development day. But this professional development even includes, how do you pronounce Chinese names? Names are so important. And we all know that. And to go through school for 4 years and no one says your name correctly is really disrespectful and not inclusive. So we talk about that. We are so excited actually that we are kind of in a Zoom world because we plan to now Zoom special events such as Mass, such as breakfast, such as Kairos, the Kairos homecoming, live to our parents in China. They have been excluded from seeing their daughter in these contexts. So now with Zoom and everyone's comfort with Zoom, that is what we're doing now. And that's what we will continue next year when the girls are here live. Translation. We have so many school to home communications, and they're all in English. So this year we have focused heavily on translation, translating all written materials for families, emails, and then when we have the parent meetings, I hire a translator to translate in Mandarin. As I mentioned before, we're looking at our curriculum. We want to be more inclusive of Chinese writers. I'll talk about the book club a little bit later. I've talked about the DEI audit. This is part of Catholic social teaching, so the timing is perfect for us. And we have developed a Dominican Justice Committee to look at our DEI work. And I'm so excited that we do have 2 international girls from China on the Social Dominican Justice Committee. This year in our residential program, we hired a full-time English language support teacher, and she lives in the dorm as a dorm parent, as well as teaching in the evening very targeted courses for the girls to get up to speed on their grammar and their English. And safety of Asian students. This will be a big challenge. We've all seen the news, and so this is something that the parents, when we ask them, what are your concerns about America? This is the number one. So we're making sure that we are very conscious of how we're going to be safe when we're off campus. And finally, empathy. I've been in settings where teachers don't understand that there's a significant time zone difference, and perhaps 10:30 at night is the best time for a student to call home. And we need to be empathetic to that. And these girls are still children. And they don't see their families for a year at a time. So really talking about that experience. And when you've lived away from your family for 5 years, you understand what that feels like to not be with family. Our big strategic goal for next year is to bridge the divide between international and domestic students, and we have many plans in the works on how to do that. We're going to use our empty dorm rooms and have staycations for our day students and invite them to be part of our program and to be part of our program at any time. This one is rather amusing, but it came in handy when I lived in Beijing, but you really should learn Chinese swear words if you have a large Chinese population, so that if there's an issue, you know what they are saying to you or behind your back as you walk out of the room. Last year, when we were in person, I brought a girl from China to be a gap year international residential life intern, and it was phenomenal because this is a problem. We don't have any Chinese teachers in our residential life program. So I'm going to do this every year and bring in a gap year college student to live with us. And it was a phenomenal experience for every party and for our gap year student. And I'm a big fan of cultural celebrations, and we don't just celebrate Chinese holidays and special celebrations, but we do it, and we do it really, we go big. And so we do Mid-Autumn Festival, Chinese New Year, Lantern Festival, Dragon Boat, and of course we honor our Vietnamese traditions and our Japanese student and our American traditions. And the girls really, really appreciate having that, that sense of home. And menu planning, we may not think about this, but seeing those foods from home and seeing some of the decor from home is really important to the girls. And so a young woman from the class of 2020, one of our Chinese international students, and this was taken right off our website, she says that this school has a profound and significant message of bringing everyone, no matter what religion, together and inspiring all of us to be better people than we were before. And I think that that is very, very important to all of our girls, but specifically and most importantly to our international students who are far from home and learning from a new culture. So that really concludes my talk. I hope the recommendations are helpful. Just a few resources. As I mentioned, we use CASEL for our SEL curriculum. We use the Council for Spiritual and Ethical Education for professional development and resources. Of course, we have many, many more, but I just wanted to pull these 4 out. Tanya Crossman, her book, which should be in every faculty member's handbook who's working with international students, is The Impact of Growing Up Overseas in the 21st Century, Misunderstood. It's a very, very, very useful book and very relevant to our times. And we have a residential life book club. And this year the girls are reading A Map of Home. And it's about that sort of transnational approach. What does it feel like to be away from your native home?
Well,
thank you so much. Thank you.